I hear what you're saying too, and my approach is a practical approach because you just had a Supreme Court that threw out affirmative action, which
Right.
spoken out against that decision.
Right.
But I think reparations is even a heavier lift constitutionally for this court. So I'm
There's that.
right.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you something, because we're talking kind of theoretically here.
Sure.
Because I spent a lot of time working with American Indians who had the whole place taken away from them.
Mm-hmm.
The only place that was paid for was Manhattan Island for $24. But the rest of it was taken illegally by force.
Right.
So where would they stand on the reparations scale?
Oh God, this is gonna sound terrible. Let me get a good way to say it.
He's trying to figure out how to say he doesn't care about that, right? That's kind of where he's at.
Because as much love as I have for Native Americans, as much love as I have for Asian Americans, as much love as I have for white Americans, as much as I can sit here and tell you I have all of the above in my family, and I hug them, love them, fist fight for them, and the whole 9 yards. When it's time to circle the wagons, no one else ever asked this question of other people. Mm-hmm. No one else is asked to think about how are these guys going to feel if we do this. No one asked the black community how we would feel when the money went to the Ukraine. No one cared. Well, what are the black people going to say? Nobody asked that question. Nobody cared what we thought.
Right.
Like, no, when Asians got the Stop Asian Hate bill, which I was, hey, stop beating up people just because they're Asian. Like, what are you doing? That's fucking ridiculous. That's retarded. Nobody asked us how we felt about that. So I'm not of the mind to consider other people when I'm looking out for what's good for my brothers and sisters in this struggle with me. Because when the cops show up, it's just us. When we're being over policed, it's just us. When we're receiving higher sentences, it's just us. Nobody else is jumping in. When we get a treatment plant near our communities, it's just us. When we get pollution, it's just us. When our water's poisoned, when Flint can't get clean water, just us. Nobody else pulls up and says, hey, well, wait a minute. And I'm not saying other people don't support, but no one else is being asked how they feel about what's happening to us. So when it's something for us, I don't want to have to consider how someone else is going to be made to feel by the fact that 40 acres and a mule is now coming back to the people who never got it. I don't want to have to ask that question. I don't think it's fair that we should have to bear that emotional burden or have that on our conscience. I don't think we should be made to empathize with, feel bad about getting something that we were stiffed on.
Right.
No one else does that.
I think.
What about the blacks that own slaves?
What about them? I don't want to split those hairs either. Like these were people who were living. These were
But
people.
that's a good question. We have descendants of those, which I'm sure we could tell you that they were actually slave owners.
For sure. And those people had to go through Jim Crow just like everybody else. Those people got called niggas to their face just like everybody else. If the money lasted, they got red lines just like everybody else. Like, and I don't want to split
But
again. I don't want to.
Do they family get money?
How about once we get the fund together, we figure that out. But we figure that out.
So my position is just a little bit, I understand what you're saying. So I don't believe money is a solution. I never say money is a solution. Financial is not going to save anybody. I can give you $1 million right now and you're still going to die. You're still going to be faced with the facts of if your spirit and your soul is right. So money is not the solution. When you give the Indians the money, like you said, if they messed up spiritually, they're going to go out and get drunk. So building back the community, definitely key. But how do now, who's in control of that? And like you said, equity, how does that benefit the direct families?
Well, I mean, the theory is, and I believe that it bears out, when you create businesses that you enrich the whole community. You can look at this barbershop, and the community that it's created in here. you know, through the existence or a grocery store, and how important it is. There's a gourmet deli across the street. You know, if that disappeared, imagine how bad it would be for this community. You know, because I saw what happened in Bed-Stuy when there was no, you know, no place to buy. Every business that you build enriches the community more, enriches everybody in the community.
But we don't
and
own
you're
these
doing it in an
businesses.
organic way.
That's the next.
We don't
that's the
own
next-
these businesses.
That's
Yeah.
the next key.
Town is
That deli
Right.
store is not owned by us.
Right, but what I'm saying is that we need to be fostering the growth of BOPs, right?
Black-owned businesses. Gotcha.
Yeah,
And that's what you were.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And we're including loans and programs to kind of educate people on business and more of that in these communities.
Right,
I'm assuming.
mentorship programs, microloan programs, grant program, opportunity districts where you have, you know, where there's an incentive for outsiders to invest in black startups, BOB startups, and all of, you know, and all of those different mechanisms for making these, you know, these communities hubs for investment and for thriving businesses.
Right.
And to me, it's also sustainable because, you know, you're creating a sense of community, you're creating dependency in that community, and it benefits everybody. And it's not just handing somebody a check. It's you know, it's giving them, you know, the knowledge. It's like, you know, to use a bad cliche, but it's teaching a man to fish.
Right.
So it's more about access.
It's about access to capital and access to the knowledge to be able to how to run a business, right? And you know, that kind of help, and that's what, you know, we did in Bed-Stuy, and it worked there.
One time for the Native American folks. Don't
Yes,
think
salute.
don't think that I don't care. One time to the Native
He
American.
on his own. You see
One
me
time
in that outside. He's on his own.
This view from under the bus is pretty nice.
This hot full trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf you heard.